Excitement is building in Newmarket for the Kipco Guineas Festival, just over a fortnight away. Sheikh Mohammed's Godolphin operation look assured of a big presence. Dawn Appraoch, the favourite for the 2,000 guineas, and Certify, a leading fancy for the 1,000. Racing manager Simon Crisford joined me to talk the Guineas Festival and the operation's hopes for later in the season. Simon, positive reports about Dawn Appraoch from Jim Bolger during the winter. Has Sheikh Mohammed been out to see the horse?
No, he hasn't been able to, but I've had a visit and he looks fantastic. He looks very strong, he's well muscled and forward in condition, and I think Jim has got him exactly where he wants him at the present time.
Jim described the horse, I think, as round as an egg, as a 2-year-old, ready to go. Is there any prospect that the horses who were behind him at 2 might have caught up physically with another winter behind them?
Well, that's always something that is possible, but I'd have to say, having seen him and having talked to Jim Bolger about him, we'd have to be very pleased with his progress, and one would hope that he might have progressed as well. So there's no reason why others should have caught up with him, although of course that is possible. We won't find out until Guineas Day.
And trip-wise, obviously interesting by New Appraoch out of a mare who I think won at 8 to 10 furlongs. He's been given a second stage Derby entry. How do you see his medium to long-term future trip-wise?
Well, I think a mile is perfect to start with. I mean, obviously he's out of a phone trick mare. There's a lot of speed there. It would be surprising if he was a 1.5 mile horse on his pedigree. And also physically, to look at him, he looks like a miler. But the way he ran in the Dewhurst, you'd have to think that he might go further than a mile. So maybe his optimum trip will be 1.25 miles. But, you know, with a horse of his class and quality, the Derby entry was a necessity, because it gives us the option to at least consider it and think about it if all goes well in the Guineas. But I would imagine, realistically, 1 mile to 10 furlongs would be his best trip.
And turning to the Kipco 1,000 guineas, obviously Certify had a very impressive campaign at 2. How's she come through the winter?
She's done very, very well. She's not over big. She hasn't grown much, but she's filled out. She looks good. She's training well, so all systems go. And
would she go straight to Newmarket on May the 5th?
Yes, we didn't think she would need a prep race. I mean, she's very clean-winded, very straightforward, and very active on a daily basis, so she keeps herself pretty straight. So we didn't think a prep race would work in her favour.
Now, looking beyond the Guineas, obviously Godolphin had a very successful international racing carnival. Some of those horses will be coming to campaign in Europe. Could you just tell us which ones of those particularly you're looking forward to and any likely targets for them?
Well, I think they all, we had a great carnival. All of them went well. I'm looking forward to seeing Secret Number run in the Dante, because I didn't think we saw the best of him in the UAE Derby. He was a little bit green. Inexperience caught him out on that occasion. So I would like to think that he can step up on that run. But to win the Dante, he would need to step up quite a lot. But he's an interesting colt. He's big, he's scopy. I think the further he goes, the better he's going to be. So I'm hoping he can develop into a nice middle distance prospect.
And obviously, finally, this is the first year that Frankie Dettori hasn't been with Godolphin as stable jockey. Mikel Barcelona delivered you a classic with Enka in the Ledger last year. He's got some big shoes to fill, Mikel, but obviously the signs of his career thus far are those of an upwardly mobile jockey.
Absolutely. I mean, we retained 2 jockeys, Mikel and Sylvester de Souza. Mikel, obviously, he's won a Dubai World Cup, he's won the Derby, he's won the St. Leger. A lot's happened very early in his career for him, but you know, he's got a wise head on young shoulders, and he's handling it very well. And you know, he's obviously learning more and more about British racetracks and the best way to ride them. So obviously, their inexperience will come into play a little bit in some of the contests throughout the year, but he's doing well, and we're also very pleased with Sylvester. I think between the pair of them, they'll both perform with great credit for Godolphin.